Well, I'm back. Ronelle Delmont and Nancy. Is it today Attardo or Atherton? Okay, Atherton. I'll call you Nancy Atherton Attardo, which is a mouthful. And you're back to talk about your collection. Before you start, Nancy, I want to show off my collection. I'm wearing, it's hard to see on this colorful thing I'm wearing, but this is a medal for target shooting, a revolver, a gun club of some kind in New Jersey with Harold Hoffman's name and face on it because the award was given in his name for some reason. I had no idea that he had guns or whatever, but I bought this on eBay and okay, and here you can barely see my little teeny tiny Harold Hoffman campaign button. It's so small you can barely see it, but I know it's there. And then I got the bond bread with the vitamin D from 1927, as I said in the other video. It's memorializing Lindbergh's flight to Paris in 1927. It's put out as an advertisement button by Bond Bread, and it absolutely says on the back that they put sunshine vitamin D in their bread. Okay, there you go. That's my collection, Nancy.
Fantastic. Who,
Yeah.
Ronelle, would think of collecting Harold Hoffman?
Oh,
Aces for you.
who would think of it? Well, he's quite a guy in my
He's
book.
a big deal, but
Yeah.
who knew there was a medal or a pin connected to him? So that's fabulous. That's awesome.
Well, everybody honors Harold Hoffman. I think even the people who disagree with me or you, Harold Hoffman was quite brave. You have to give the guy credit as the governor who questions the authority and well,
Yeah.
the authority and the behavior of his police force. That is remarkable. I said this in another video. You will not find governors, mayors, or dog catchers who, in any part of government, will 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 point a finger at corrupt behavior of a police department. The last time anybody did that in New York, he had to run away to Switzerland, and I knew the guy. His name was Serpico. He lived around the corner from my antique shop on Minetta Lane, and he had a German, not a German, he had a beautiful sheepdog, and he walked around with it every day until he had to run away to Switzerland for like 20 years. The guy's still alive, evidently, but he was shot in the head as a setup by his own police department because they had to get rid of the guy because he wouldn't take graft or he wouldn't cut himself in on the money they were stealing from drug dealers in New York City, and he gave testimony to the Knapp Commission it was, and he had to leave the country. So I'm just saying, Hoffman is a hero to me for these reasons and many others. Okay, now you do the talking. Go ahead.
Okay.
You don't have your silver pitcher anymore, but I have to tell you, you don't know what you started with Diane Hamilton. You have no idea because since yesterday and this morning, I have been on YouTube. Going to share this. I know I'm telling you to talk and I'm doing all the blabbering
That's okay.
here, but I got to show you what you don't know about Diane Hamilton that you started here. Oh, where did it go? There. Is this it? I hope. Nope. Where did it go? Share. It must be here. Oh, there it is. Okay.
The Clancy Brothers.
Enough entertainment. I got to do more of that because I love music. What has this got to do with your picture? Well, you better look into it more because your picture may be more valuable, not because it came from the Lindberghs, but because of who it went to. Diane Hamilton is barely known. You put me on a trail there and I didn't stop because I knew these people that you just saw. I lived at Greenwich Village, and these were the Clancy brothers hung out at the Lion's Head pub where I used to eat, and the White Horse Tavern. Oh my God, what it brought back, Nancy. You put me through a whole nostalgic 24 hours because I had an antique shop on Bleecker Street, and Frank McCourt, who, Siglinda, the other Lindbergh crazy person like us, she and I have a thing going for like 20 years because our favorite book is Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. Frank, if anybody's ever read these books, you don't know what you're missing. Frank and his brother Malachi and the other brothers and the Clancy brothers, Tommy Makem, Pete Hamill. Oh my God. This was the day of the 50s and 60s folk song era, and it's all because of Diane Hamilton. Do you know what she did? She gave up her name Guggenheim. She didn't want to be known as an heiress to a fabulous fortune. And on her mother's side, she was in, I don't know how rich they were, but her grandfather was in the head of the Navy, and she's got a deep, deep connection to the government and also to fabulous wealth through her father. And she hid her background, called herself Hamilton, went to Ireland, and gathered up in the mid-50s every great Irish. I grew up on this stuff as a teenager. Jean Ritchie, all of this type of music. And you telling me, look up Diane Hamilton, I went crazy. And I'm not going to stop because I love that music. And she put it together and created a folk company called Tradition Records. My husband was part of that scene, although I didn't know him at the time. My husband is French. He had a partner from Bulgaria. And the two, Danielle and Dimitri, ran around the world and all over the country as foreigners, just like the Clancy brothers. Some of them were from Ireland. And they ran around the country entertaining people in Ohio and Los Angeles, all over. And okay, so what has this got to do with the baby? Let me just ask you to remark on what I'm showing here. I don't think people can see it clearly, and neither can you. But this is Charlie's birth certificate before he had a name attached to him. It took 17 days for the Lindberghs to give the child a name. And it's a birth certificate that's blank that he got. Someone in the family went to the Board of Health. I've looked into this. They went to the Board of Health in Englewood, and they got this blank certificate, which somebody typed in all the responses. They're going to live in St. Louis. That's mentioned as their home. I'm sure it's because of taxes that they were choosing that instead of New Jersey. Who knows? But on the certificate, it has St. Louis, Missouri, as both Anne and Charles's home, which is, they never, as far as I know, they never owned a home there. But maybe that was their intention. They were both Caucasian. He's 28, she's 24, born in Englewood. Okay. But look at the number 24. When I have, of course, a paper copy of this from the museum. And when I put this 24 under a loop, a magnifying glass that you look at jewelry with, the 2 looks like it's overriding a 1. For sure, there's a 1 under the 2. I don't know why the person, I don't even know if this is Everett Hawks's actual signature. I don't know. I'm bringing it up for people to research themselves because everything I do, as you know, is for other people to go and hunt like you have been doing and everyone else. The whole purpose of my website was to inspire people around the world or wherever to question this crime. Okay, what do you think? That he might have been born earlier, you think?
Well, and wouldn't have even been 24 unless he was born on that date. So no, I have no problem with the birth date myself.
Yeah, but the fact of that trip that they took where she couldn't stand up and it had to be carried out, that was in on April 20th, 21st, when they arrived in New York from that trip. And they rushed her out and she was sobbing. You know the whole story. Maybe people listening to us don't know it, but it was 14 hours and she didn't stand up for not a second the entire time. And they had trouble with the weather. So what do you think? Is it possible the child was born earlier? And why did it take 17? I mean, I'm just asking questions. I have no idea if this is just a mistake because the guy was half asleep when he filled out. First of all, everything is typed. Only this little section here is written in script. What do you think?
Right.
Could be. Okay, well, so you think the baby was born on the 22nd and this doesn't prove anything, and you're right, it doesn't prove anything. It only raises another question.
Yeah. I mean, if there was a confusion maybe with a month that he was born way prematurely, but June looks okay on there.
Yeah. The June is good. Yeah, the unless they faked it completely, but who knows? You know, rich people could fake whatever they want. You know that. They can, even maybe with the board. I don't know what shenanigans can go on. Um, who knows? She was out of it. She was anesthetized, so
Yeah.
they could have told her anything when she woke up. You know, go ahead. What have you got to show us?
Yeah. I've just taken that on face value. I haven't gone into the birth certificate. Yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
just thought because the 12th we were supposed to talk about the baby being found, so I decided to do that. Go ahead.
Sure. I understand. Okay. Well, I I can date, there's the house in Hopewell
Right.
as it stands more recently, probably.
Yeah.
Here's a copy of an article that I can date the start of my Lindbergh interest in kidnapping, Ronelle. The date on this is Sunday, March 21st, 1993. So apparently I knew back then that this was going to be meaningful because I cut it out of the newspaper.
What newspaper is it?
It's the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle. And I was just casually reading the newspaper that Sunday morning, and the headline caught me.
So
Lindbergh
you
killed.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
You were not collecting Lindbergh before that?
No.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, wow. So go ahead.
So the headline says Lindbergh killed own baby, new book alleges. And that was the fateful date for me, March 21st, 1993, that started all of my collecting.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting that I have that. Now, I have
Did
this.
Lindbergh mean anything to you before that? As a hero, as a person of history? I mean, you obviously knew who he was.
I knew who Lindbergh was. I don't know if you've heard this story, but um, as we were all adults, my parents used to come here to our house and have dinner. And my mom, we'd be at dinner, and mom knew about my Lindbergh collection upstairs. And somehow Lindbergh would come up during our dinner conversation. And mom was old, she was in her 80s. And
I see.
she'd say to me at dinner, Nancy, Uncle Roy knew Lindbergh. And I'd say, oh, that's nice, Mom. And then because, come on, Uncle Roy lived here in Rochester. Well, Lindbergh didn't live in Rochester. So I'd say, oh, that's nice, Mom. And then I'd change the topic, okay? Like you would do with a mom who was getting senile.
Was she really?
Yeah, she was getting senile.
Oh,
And so then we'd be back together again. And we'd be at the dining room table, and Mom would say, Nancy, Uncle Roy used to know Lindbergh. And I'd say once more, well, that's really nice. Completely non-believing. Okay.
right.
So finally, I decided to get in touch with Uncle Roy's daughter, Marion, cousin Marion. And indeed, Marion did tell me the story of her father and Charles Lindbergh.
And,
Uncle Roy used to live in Washington, D.C.
oh, well.
And as a child, Uncle Roy and Lindbergh, same age, used to deliver
Oh,
telegrams on their bicycles.
what?
Yes.
That he loved riding stuff, bicycles,
And
motorcycles.
so he started off on his bicycle with his pal Leroy, known as Roy. And he started off on a bicycle with telegrams and then eventually graduated to U.S. airmail in biplanes. How about
Fucking
that?
Lindbergh did, not your.
Lindbergh did, not
Yeah.
Uncle Roy, ended up joining the Coast Guard.
Uh,
But Uncle Roy did indeed live as a child in Washington, D.C.,
wow.
which I never understood until I talked to his daughter, cousin Marion.
I bet you listened to Mom after
Absolutely. That taught me a lesson, didn't it?
that. Me
Yeah.
too.
And actually, cousin Marion gifted me one of the Lindbergh medals, one of the larger medals that they had acquired during the time of the flight.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was really special.
you know, I started the website because of that teenage girl who was being harassed by a newspaper, and because I read Algren Ammonia's book just like you did. Only I read it a year after you, 1994, when the Simpson trial was going on. But I have to tell you, I mentioned a few minutes ago, I had an antique shop in Greenwich Village. It was on Bleecker between McDougal and 6th Avenue. And around the corner at 116 McDougal Street, up on the 6th floor, was a little lady. She was so tiny. She was born in LA to Japanese family. Her name is Taka Nakano. And Taka was our dear, dear friend till the day she died. She was almost 100 years old and lived on the 6th floor walk up on McDougal Street for years and years. I'm telling you, Nancy, she used to, I don't even remember why she would bring it up. She was not senile. She had a sharp memory, all right.
Okay.
And then she would say to me, Bruno Hauptmann was innocent. He was innocent because and the way she spoke, Rudy Aldinger, she called him, Rudy Aldinger told me he's innocent, he's innocent. And she'd bring this up so many times, and my
Okay.
eyes would roll, Oi, Taka already, enough already, Taka. I heard this a million times. She was not senile, but she was focused on that, and it would come up every now and then. It
Sure.
wasn't until I read Olga Pneumonia in 19, and Taka was already gone, I think, by that time. I don't remember when she passed away, but um, you know what happened because you were there. You were participating in my forum. I started the website in 98. And I had a forum attached to it where people from all over the country and even outside the country would congregate and argue and argue and argue. And one of the people was this guy, Aldinger, uh, Ray Aldinger. I forget his first name. Oh, it's been so long. He's passed away. He's one of the people who claims to be the Lindbergh baby because it was his uncle who brought Hauptmann. See, my friend Taka worked at a bank downtown Manhattan with Rudy Aldinger, who's the son of Fred Aldinger, who And actually, I think it was Rudy. I forget how Hoffman got to live with the Aldingers on the Upper West Side when he first successfully came off the ship illegally. I think he was on a street and where whatever. They brought the Aldinger family brought him to safety in America. They hid him and he went to work and they introduced him to Anna. And so this guy lived in Orlando, Florida, and he continually claimed to be the real. And you know what? He was the only one, in my opinion, who ever really had a shot at proving such a thing because he was related. The other, I hate to be, I didn't prepare you for discussing this, sorry, but that, and when I think of Taka, I think I want to apologize to her so many times because she was leading me to something she had knowledge of it because she worked side by side with Rudy Aldinger. And I only kicked myself for never asking her another question because I thought she was crazy. Like you thought your mother was going senile. I thought Taka was fixated on something that I had no interest in, you know, and look at the
Same
chances.
story we have, Ronelle.
Yeah, that's what you remind me of because we don't listen to other people. We don't. I've had a terrible habit all my life of ignoring things that people are trying to tell me that I should have inquired more about. When I read Olga Nemonia's write-up I used to be a social director in North Carolina, Hendersonville, North Carolina, and I would go to the library every morning, and out came a review of their book from the computer. Well, these two guys are crazy. They're nuts. That Lindbergh killed his baby. What? They're crazy. So I came back to the hotel where I was the social director with my husband. I walk up the stairs. It's like a country hotel in the middle of the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Sure.
And there's an old man. He was in his upper 90s. He's sitting in the rocking chair like this. The sunshine is gorgeous. He's all alone on the porch in the rocking chair, and it was just glorious morning. I walk up the stairs, and he's the first person I bumped into. And I say to him, do you know what I just heard? I just heard Lindbergh killed his baby and Hauptmann was innocent. You know what happened? That guy stood up with a purple face, red and purple, spitting at me as he screamed at me. He's in his 90s, for God's sake.
Oh my
I
gosh.
thought we'd have to call an ambulance and
Yeah.
he's having a heart attack.
Right.
I worked on that case. He's guilty. Yes, I worked on that case. He's guilty. He's guilty.
Okay.
I know enough to ask him why he's guilty. I didn't know. I didn't even read Olga Nemonia's book yet. I thought they were
this
nuts.
is your first
My first encounter
with Algren and Minir, and then you get this guy in his rocking chair.
I swore I would never review their book for any audience in Florida because I'd be causing mass strokes every.
Yes, right.
So, we each have our memories and look, so show us some more stuff. Let's see stuff.
Okay. Well, I think I'll show you this. This is something I absolutely love. Do you know, I think in some book I read that Charles Lindbergh's mother, as a teacher, was dubbed Old Stoneface.
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing that?
I think you told me. I don't remember reading it, but I think.
Okay. Can you see this?
Yeah, yes. Perfectly clear.
It's a report card signed Evangeline.
Where did you find this stuff?
Isn't this fantastic?
This is Cass Technical.
Sure, Cass Technical High School.
Right.
That's where she taught in Detroit. Right. Final scholarship report. This would be for Marvin Bandemer. Okay. His subject was Chemistry 1, and Old Stoneface gave him, he had 4 marking periods. He got an E, a D, and a D, and a D from Old Stoneface.
She was a tough cookie.
Yeah, she was a tough cookie, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So that's pretty special. Um, another special thing I have here. We know this book, I Am Innocent, by Richard Hoffman. And jeepers, you only get to the introduction page and it says, today this book is a rare item that is hard to come by on the antiquarian book market.
The original, yeah.
Yeah, auf Deutsch, in German.
I have it. Yeah, I bought a copy long
Which
ago.
one?
The German one in paperback. It's in German. But I
Right.
think it's typed in, you're a German expert, but I can't read the old.
It's the old script.
Yeah,
So
I have
first
that.
I had to
Yeah.
then buy it.
Yeah, I have that.
Okay, so the interesting thing
Yeah.
is I purchased this from, I went to ebay.de.
Right, Germany. Yeah.
Yes. And I got in contact with a man who did, in fact, have this book for sale. But I didn't read the fine print very carefully. The fine print said, not for sale to the US.
Really? Why? I didn't want to mail
Because they
it
don't
to
like
you.
paying postage. People
Right.
don't like paying postage.
Right, right.
So I didn't read it. I was too excited. So I just went ahead and paid. So then I had, his name was Rudy, and he is from the town of Commence.
Yeah.
My gosh. So
Hmm.
I had to have a month-long conversation with Rudy in Commence to try to figure out how I was going to get him some European euros to pay him for the book and postage, etc.
Oh,
So this is a book I'm very, very pleased to have.
yeah, I have it too. I bought it, I think I got it on eBay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you another item that I'm very pleased to own.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the Union Hotel clock.
This is the clock from the Union Hotel.
Yep.
The jury was sequestered and where our journalism people stayed. And this was the clock that was at the fine Union Hotel. Good for you, Ronelle, that it was at the Union Hotel way back when, 1935. So I'm really
They
pleased.
tear the building down, or is it just
It's
not-
gone. It's
Oh,
completely gone.
oh boy.
Yeah. Sad but true. Here's another one of my items that I'm happy to have that you've seen a copy of. The trial pass.
I have one too, Nancy.
Good for you.
Wait, gonna
It's
show
nice
it.
to have it.
Wait,
Those are
wait. I
fancy.
have I have it, Nancy. I got it from you. Here,
Oh, Ronelle, yeah.
I can't
That's my
show.
second copy I have of it. Yeah.
No,
The
but you
trial.
made this out
I
of
made a copy of it from my trial pass.
right. You have the real one. I got the phony one,
Yeah,
right?
you got, yeah,
You sent this to me on our way to Lisa Perlman's reenactment, but I never showed
exactly. Yeah.
I didn't show it to get in.
Because of the concern that they might shunt us off to the video room
Video
instead of
room.
the actual courtroom, we were going to have our real trial passes to get in.
Right.
They
And
weren't
you
gonna
sent
leave
me
us
this
out of the-
lovely, lovely pass.
Yeah.
I can't
Okay.
believe the trouble you go to. You're amazing. Okay.
One of the other things I have, besides the big poster of all the serial numbers, I also have the booklet that they distributed.
Oh, I have that. I have a couple of those. Wait, how big? Yeah, that's the little book. Yeah, I have a
Yeah, the
couple
little
of them.
booklet.
Yeah, I didn't buy them. I was given them, but I don't
Oh,
remember where. And I
super.
even have the numbers in the big poster. I've got
Yeah.
it's flaking apart.
Ronelle, I have purchased everything. That accounts for the $30,000 to $40,000
Husband's a doll.
cost. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've
Um,
spent that much in books. I'm sitting in a room, it's a big mess, and it's covered in books everywhere. I love books.
I have my other lamp is in my Lindy room, but this is one of my lamps that I have a photo of. Can you see my photo? of a lamp.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
A
there's
Lindbergh
Lindbergh in his goggles and his hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, his cap.
Yeah, a lamp. So
Yeah.
I enjoy having that. Oh,
That's not related to the kidnapping, like
no.
the other stuff.
I'm willing to collect Lindbergh up until like 1928, and then I'm finished with him.
Yeah,
I don't buy anything post 28 or so. Now, we don't know. We could use a handwriting expert here, Ronelle,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Because I'm not saying this is actually real. Remember outside the courtroom, the Flemington courtroom, they sold Charlie Junior's hair.
yeah.
Well,
I know you bought it. I know.
no, I didn't buy
Oh,
Charlie
no?
Junior's hair.
You
No,
bought Lindbergh's hair.
but we don't know if Charlie Lindbergh's hair was really his hair
Right.
in 1935 at the Flemington courthouse. But I do have this postcard that I purchased. It's dated Flemington, January 22nd, 1935. And it's the courthouse, you can see, and it says scene of Lindbergh Hoffman trial, 1935. And we turn it to the message sign,
Yeah.
and it says regards, Bruno Hoffman.
Huh. But he didn't use the name Bruno, so
He might,
he might have during the trial he did sign his name Bruno. He became so well known. We're gonna be out of Zoom in 3 minutes, but do you want
I'll
to
show
do
you.
another part, or you have to go for your piano lesson?
Well, I'm fine for a minute. This is something I purchased. It's a birthday card dated 1947. This is what Anne wrote to Land, his actual birthday card for his 10th birthday.
Who had this to sell on eBay? You know, that's really weird. What did they do with all
How
the,
did they acquire this birthday?
right? Because
That's a good question.
as far as I knew, every tidbit of paper went to Yale, right?
Yeah,
Every
pretty much.
scrap.
We know that.
Yeah,
Well, Land was the recipient of this.
right,
And this is the original. This is not a
right,
copy that went to Yale.
right.
So
I
somehow,
guess this is interesting that you bring this up because the kids probably, I know the sons did not like their father very much, and they probably disobeyed him or whatever, and they kept their own paraphernalia, their own memorabilia, and
and
yeah,
otherwise it was dispersed to the winds, and
right.
the wind brought me this.
I
So it's
know,
fun to
I
have
think they
something.
loved their mother though. Do you get
Sure,
that
why not?
feeling?
And
They loved
speaking of
her and
mother, it is signed not mom to a 10-year-old, it's signed mother
yeah. Well,
right there.
yeah, I've
Wow.
seen that. Yeah. Oh, wow. So that's interesting. Okay, when we do another one soon, we have a minute left. What should we do next time? What part of the,
Well, I think it would be a lot of fun to show you, other than the Springfield, Massachusetts church, where I have been in the United States on the Lindbergh quest.
you also went to France recently on that quest.
That's true. It's not been just domestic,
No,
Ronelle.
no, you told me,
Absolutely.
I know better than you where you've been.
There we go. Just like my mother losing it.
I love you. So nice to be with you again. Have a wonderful piano lesson.
Thank you,
One
Ronelle.
day you'll give us a concert.
Oh, well,
You
to
know,
be
when
sure,
the Irish, what?
I'll play some of my sheet music that I have collected from the flight, from Lindy's flight.
You're kidding. You have a collection of that?
$30,000, Ronelle. It's in the room.